It's an unimaginable scene that took hold of the world nearly overnight. Business after business boarded up, offices closed, Americans instructed by government officials to only leave their homes for the essentials, unless they were deemed essential.
There are tens of millions of people in this country, whether they're working in grocery stores or hospitals, who didn't have a choice about being in harm's way.
In the first 2 months of the pandemic, 22 million people lost their jobs, and unemployment shot to 14.7%.
The devastating new unemployment numbers.
Nearly 17 million are now out of work.
Overall, women were among the hardest hit, and in particular, women of color. This is often because these are women who are working disproportionately in the service sector.
LaShawn and Rayshawn Middleton grew up outside of Baltimore, Maryland. The twin sisters worked in the restaurant industry as servers until they were laid off from separate restaurants on the same day.
Time went on, and it was like 5 months, 6 months, and we had to move back in with our mom.
This new reality allowed the sisters to consider a completely different path.
In 2021, the Google Trend Report said that more people searched for how to start a business than how to find a job. We've never seen that before.
It's like a reality check almost. Are we gonna go back, or are we gonna create an opportunity for ourselves? So when COVID happened, it forced us to do something different.
That something different was R&L Crab Company.
So we're gonna throw on some crabs. We use beer. Yeah. We don't use water like traditional places.
A business born out of necessity and a love of, well, crabs.
How did you come up with this business idea?
It was a rainy day, and we were craving some crabs. We eat crabs about 4 or 5 times a week, and we started Googling crab delivery, and we noticed no one delivered crabs, which was weird because we're in Maryland. It's kind of our staple dish. Yeah, and then we thought we should do it.
The twins invested about $600 to start, cooking in their mom's kitchen. But it wasn't always smooth sailing, especially when LaShawn got the call to come back to her old job.
At first I said yes, I was gonna go back. And then I just really started to think, like, is this what I want? And it was a huge choice. She was really terrified. I was crying. All finished here.
But now, 24 months later, they're about to open location number 2.
How did you learn this stuff?
We started to study other entrepreneurs, and one of the biggest things was, I call it YouTube University. I was on YouTube all the time. We really just learned everything ourselves.
The twins weren't the only ones ready to take a risk on themselves during the pandemic.
People, of course, had to get very resourceful in terms of supplementing their income.
In 2020, 1 in 3 Americans had a side hustle.
Here is our current inventory.
Matt Munt, a mechanical engineer, and his wife Angie Cupper, a therapist from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, had been tinkering with their own idea for a company. After years of troubled sleep, Matt came up with a redesigned weighted blanket.
You can get both feet out and walk around. We bootstrapped the entire company with $2,500, and that was kind of my budget.
Nightmare after Christmas.
When Matt lost his job in February 2020, suddenly the side hustle became his full-time gig.
I was on the fence about it, but, you know, getting laid off, that certainly will force you in one direction.
Not only did it prove to be the right direction, it led to a call that would change their lives forever.
Hey Sharks, my name is Matt Munt.
And I'm Angie Cupper.
We got a call from Shark Tank, and they want us to be on the show. We are Hug Sleep.
8 months after Matt lost his job, he and Angie got an offer from every single shark.
So guys, you're gonna get 5 offers. I don't know how often that happens.
We closed out the year a little under like 9 million in sales.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations. That's a great year.
I went from being laid off to going full-time with my company, being on Shark Tank, having our first son, and we survived the global pandemic.
But as eager as people were to start businesses in the pandemic, after the boards came down and the help wanted signs went up, workers were much slower to return. Job openings surged to record highs, 1.5 jobs available for every person out of work.
Now to the so-called Great Resignation.
A record number of workers saying, I quit.
The Great Resignation did not tell the full story. It really should be referred to as the Great Reevaluation, where people had time to reflect on their work and their life and how they spent their time.
We also begin to see people say, wait a second, I don't have to be treated like this. I actually don't have to put up with insane hours or a crazy commute.
The pandemic made me reprioritize a lot of things about my life, especially my relationship with work.
Lulu Safdia, a tech worker, is part of a growing group of digital nomads, people trading in their desk jobs to travel the world.
I got a sense of claustrophobia, and I really wanted to get out of that. Traveling and being able to do my work remotely from everywhere in the world was the solution.
Since the pandemic began, where have you traveled and lived?
I've been in Miami, in Philadelphia, in Boston, in New York. I'm now currently in Milan, and I'm planning to go to France.
At almost 30, Lulu eventually wants to settle down, but only supporting herself has let her be more flexible.
You can't really get much better than this.
For years, one of the arguments against remote work was, if people are working at home, it means they're not working. And then, in March of 2020, we had a massive 2-year, 100 million people experiment with it, and you know what? It worked pretty darn well.
I think the way we work and this idea of office centricity is over. We are never going back to a pre-COVID version of that.
As many continue to reevaluate what it means to work, some like Rishan and LaShawn can't imagine ever going back to the way things were.
How have the last 24 months changed your life?
I now have this amazing business that I love so much. It is my whole entire life, and I'm just happy.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.